to do today. Thank you so much for coming. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. Let's get it out here so we can see it. Whoops. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next slide, Annie. I wanted to say that we're going to have a special Blue Crew on February 3rd. A French news group is coming to film us. So if you want to be on French TV, come to Sumter Square February 3rd at 5 o'clock. Should be interesting. And if you would, for me, please, turn around and look at your neighbors and introduce yourself to somebody. In honor of Martin Luther King, who was a great man who accomplished great things. We will remember him always. Thank you. Next, Andy. Coming up right now is Bob Berg, the chairman of the DEC, but I don't see Bob. Oh, there you are.
Good morning, Sumter Democrats, and Lake County Democrats, and Marion County Democrats. As Diane mentioned, my name is Bob Berg. I'm the chair of the Sumter Democratic Executive Committee, which is the umbrella organization that sponsors the Village's Democratic Club. My wife Ann and I live here in the Villages, and we've been members of the Villages Democratic Club for about 13 years. But most of my volunteer efforts right now are with the DEC. So I asked Diane for a few minutes to talk about volunteer opportunities, and just about that same time, Robert Reich had something on Facebook that I thought tailored nicely into this presentation, and so I'm going to steal some of his stuff and then tailor it to Sumter County and talk about volunteer opportunities we have going forward. You know, it's basically what can you do to help save democracy. So if your grandkids say, Grandma and Grandpa, what did you do? Is your answer going to be, I managed a pickleball league, or did you actually do something to register and get people to vote? So these, he had 10 points. I'll go through them quickly with emphasis. You know, it's basically we need to become more politically active. And basically that requires all of us to get out of our comfort zone. Do I like to phone bank strangers? Not particularly, but I do it anyway because that's what I know we need to do to win. Do I love canvassing in areas that I don't know? Not particularly, but I do it anyway because that's how we reach out to Democrats who are inconsistent voters. Do we write letters to the editors? No, but I know Marcia Shearer is great at it. And it does let other people know that we're here. But what you can do is influence your friends, your neighbors, and your relatives. So number 2 was do not succumb to complacency. Basically, the stakes are too high. I mean, we see it's really going to be a binary election between Trump and Biden, and so our choice is going to be pretty clear. And even if somebody like Nikki Haley sneaks in there, we know that her policies are very Trump-like. She doesn't carry quite the baggage, but her policies are the same. As far as countering lies with truth, when you hear a lie, correct it. You don't have to be obnoxious about it, but you do need to correct it. And as far as bigotry and hate, call it out, stand up, denounce it, and frankly demand others denounce it too. But we can do it in a pleasant sort of way. We are not going to sink to their levels. We are not going to engage in the middle school name calling and taunting and so on. As fun as that may be, we're just not going to get there. So, Andy, if we could have the next slide, please. This one is hard for me to do, be compassionate to our hardcore followers of Trump. All right, this is Robert Wright. He's, Dartmouth, Rhodes Scholar, worked in 4 presidential administrations, including being Secretary of Labor under Carter. And he's currently a professor at UC Berkeley. But be firm in our opposition. But what we need to do is use our time, efforts, and energy on people that are persuadable. I know Eric Lipsis loves to argue with the Trumpers. Not my thing. It's like I'd rather talk to somebody left-leaning, no party affiliate, decide if they're going to be on our team, and then we will include them in our get out the vote efforts. Now, as far as commiserating with people that already agree with us. Democrats love being with each other, but I'm not going to get any extra votes by talking this morning. You're all going to vote. My guess is I know how you're going to vote, and you're consistent voters. In the villages, we do great. With your help, we led the state in Democratic turnout, both in the 22 primary election and the 2022 general election. We should be very proud of that. With your help, we submitted almost 6,000 abortion petitions to help get over the threshold. So that we have 2 obstacles still ahead of us. One is the Supreme Court has oral arguments on February 9th, I believe it is, with a due date of April 1st to issue their decision. They don't have to agree with it, they just have to say that it's a single issue and that it's clearly presented. So we expect a favorable decision there, but then the next big hurdle is on Election Day in November that we get a 60% +1 threshold to get it on the ballot. So anyway, we're not going to spend time complaining about Trump to each other. We're also not going to waste our time bashing Biden. He's not perfect, but he has done great things. And the Biden administration has done great things. You can complain about messaging, how they haven't taken as much credit as they should. I'm going to make a messaging ask here in a minute. So if you don't like the messaging going on, help us fix that. Don't decide to sit out this election. Again, he's not perfect, but it's not a choice of the lesser of 2 evils. He has tremendous accomplishments, and we truly have somebody evil leading the other side. The other thing is demonstrate, but don't confuse that for political activism. We can stand on the corner of the street and give the finger to people going on a Trump golf cart rally, but that is not going to get us any votes. You know, it may make you feel good temporarily, may get you spit on, but it's not going to get us any votes. And really, the object, my goal is to get more Democratic votes. That is, I wake up every morning figuring out what can we do to get more Democratic votes. So the last couple things, don't get distracted. So what's going to be on the news between now and election? Court, 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 court. You know, this lawsuit, that lawsuit, this filing, that filing. I feel like I'm going to law school. I mean, it is ridiculous. It is hard for the Biden administration to get any oxygen in the room because it is all Trump all the time and all the negativity. Negativity sells. All the good stuff that he's doing just does not, make the cut. So the next slide talks about what are we doing here in Sumter County. And these are examples of the types of things that we're doing. And frankly, the easiest thing that you could do is sign up to become a neighborhood link. And that's basically you work with your Democratic neighbors or hopefully left-leaning no-party affiliates because we are going to have the no-party affiliates here in Florida if we are going to win. We need to start chipping away at the supermajorities both in the House and the Senate, and this is how we do it. Barbie Harden Hall is going to speak here in a minute. She's going to need petitions. She's going to need about between 2,000 and 3,000 petitions between now and April. So you say, well, how many? 6,000, just like I said. So how do we do that? Well, if each one of you can bring in 10, we have a great start. We're getting ready to have Nathan Sharp, maybe here somewhere, I don't know, and is going to help us send out an email blast to announce her candidacy. We're going to have a link to her fundraising, and so, we are going to get this done. I mean, we had almost that many for the abortion petition. We had a little bit more time to do it, but these are things that we can accomplish. So Neighborhood Link is one of the ways we do that. It's you talking to your Democratic neighbors. We do phone banking. We have several variations of that. We are doing texting. This is not from your telephone. This is from a computer-generated program, and it does not use your home phone number or cell phone number. We're getting ready to sign a contract with a new company, and so we're going to be able to send out lots of text messages, and we need people to respond to that. We do robocalling, we do addressing of postcards, we do canvassing. The canvassing inside the villages we do mostly through our Neighborhood Links program. Outside the villages, we're going to start a day of action on every third Saturday following the lead of the Florida Democratic Party. And with the help of Bill Vaines, we've identified, people to register to vote as well as people that need to enroll and vote by mail. And you may ask, well, what in the world, why are you making such an emphasis on voting by mail? And the answer is it helps voter turnout. An inconsistent voting Democrat enrolled in vote by mail will vote at over 90%. If they're not, they're closer to 50%. So if we can get an inconsistent voter to sign up for voting by mail, they're more likely to vote. And again, I wake up every morning trying to figure out how can we get more votes. So canvassing is one way we do it. Messaging, we have trouble with as Democrats. My degree from Purdue is in wildlife science, and I worked as a manager for Social Security. I have no experience doing this. I'm guessing at it. We have a data need. We have all kinds of stuff. We have a big, database in the sky that we host data to, and we'd love people to take a look at that and help us fine-tune our outreach, how we can get more Democrats voting. Above the Neighborhood Links program is a precinct captain. They don't just take the neighbors on their street, they take a whole precinct. In our case, Ann and I are the precinct captains for 106, and we have Largo, Sable Chase, Virginia Trace, and Bridgeport at Lake Sumter. So that's an example of the type of precinct. We're also looking for leadership. If we're looking for people to take charge of the phone banking, we're looking for people to take charge of the canvassing, we're looking for people to take charge of the messaging. The other thing that we do in Sumter County, because we are blessed with time, because we're retired, and resources because we have Social Security, is we're working beyond Sumter County. We have adopted the 6 counties in Michigan that do not have a formal DEC like we have, and we are doing vote by mail outreach and get out the vote outreach in those 6 counties. In addition, I'm working with Senate District's 3 team in the Panhandle, because that's a blue Florida Senate district that went red because Democrats didn't bother to vote. And so what we're trying to do now is make sure that all those 13 mostly small red counties have the resources in order to vote a Democrat and take that particular Senate seat back. And if all of that you can't do, then make a generous donation and we'll hire somebody that can do it in your stead. We are not, we're competing with McDonald's for workers, so we're paying $18.50 for an hour for canvassers. So it is not cheap to get people to go out and knock doors, especially in the middle of the summer. I, like you, I have my health ails. I've had a replaced right knee, and I can't do the canvassing like I did when I was in my mid-40s. It just doesn't work that way. So we have some volunteers around. If you are interested in taking a look at our volunteer sheet, you can volunteer for Sumter, you can volunteer for Lake. Marion's not here, but we will pass that information along. We work closely with them. So if you are interested in taking a look at our sheet and filling it out, please raise your hand, and we have some of our volunteers with clipboards and a volunteer sheet. And thank you very much for your attention, and let's have a blue year in 2024.
Thanks, Bob. Bob, if you've got a degree in wildlife, it seems like this is a good job for you. Sally Brody, I have your driver's license. Oh, that's me. Next up is the Educational Forum, and Marcia Shearer is going to give us an update.
Thanks. I hope you don't mind my standing here. It would take me longer to climb those stairs with my 2 bad knees than it would to say what I need to. The Villages Democratic Club has launched a new educational forum to focus on critical education issues here in Florida and how political candidates at all levels stand on these issues. Members attending our initial meeting identified priority areas of concern, and we've been building our program around your needs and interests. So to that point, one of our former club presidents, Bob Jansen, will present an overview of the various public in quotation marks, education systems in Florida. Charter, the various different types and their qualifications for entry, vouchers, and regular public schools. Bob will take into account recent laws passed by the Florida legislature and their financial and educational impact on the public school system here. There will also be plenty of time for discussion and comments. Mark this down. Our next meeting is at Hibiscus Rec Center, January 28th from 2 to 4. If you have any questions, see me after the meeting. And as the year turned from 2023 to 2024, I was reminded of the old Chinese curse. May you live in interesting times. Thank you.
is Barbie Harden Hall, and she is running against Daniel Webster.